What is good, YouTube? This your boy Aaron.
It's Brian.
This is the Courtside podcast, and we are back today, and we are talking about the NFC West. I feel like now we can start to talk about the NFL a little bit, them other divisions. I don't know what it is, but it felt like a whole different sport. But this one, it's a lot more exciting. Let's get to the Rams because I'm very excited about the Rams. I actually like what they're doing with the team real quick. Let's get to our last. Let me share my screen real quick. So this is their depth chart as of this moment. And they brought in Devontae Adams free agency. They still have Puka Nacua. They still have Tutu Atwell. They also drafted a tight end as well in the second round. They still have Tyler Higbee. Terrence Ferguson is the guy they drafted. I believe he's from Oregon. They still have Matthew Stafford playing high-level football. Kyron Williams, Blake Corum. We'll see how Blake Corum is in year two. Didn't have the greatest year one, but we'll see how he fares in year two. But Kyron Williams is still a really good back for them. Defensively, I like their front with Braden Fitz, with Kobe Turner, with Byron Young, with Jared Verse. I like their front. They have a really good front. I think it's another guy as well that was really good for them. But yeah, I think that's
Byron Young.
Yeah, Ford, Puna Ford, I think it is.
Ford. They just got him.
Yeah, they just got him. He's a pretty good player as well. So they added him to the front. He's gonna really do wonders for them. They got him from the Chargers, I believe it was. So I really like their front. Now their secondaries. That's where it's not looking too good. How do you feel about their secondary?
I'm not like the greatest fan of the secondary from a name perspective. But the secondary gets disguised a little bit because the front fours are so good. Like they get after the QB, they stop the run. So it makes it a little difficult to pass on these guys because you just got either Jerry Verse coming at you, you got Byron Young coming at you. They even got good interior play with Kobe Turner, and they drafted Ty Hamilton as well, and took him in the draft. Oh, also Braden Fisk as well. So they got that front four is masking a lot of the deficiencies in the secondary because you look at some of these guys like Cam Curl. I mean, he's all right. You know, he's not like a super. He's not like a Pro Bowl safety in my eyes. Akilo Witherspoon did have that 1 year. People thought he was really good, but then once people actually started throwing him the ball, it was kind of like, oh, he's not who we thought he was. Right. But he's not terrible or anything. I don't know who the heck Quentin Lake is, but I do know who Darius Williams is. But so, yeah, the secondary is just pretty average in my opinion. Nothing too spectacular.
I will say their linebacking core outside of their rushers and Verse and Byron Young is a little questionable as well. But that front from their tackles to their left, right end, and their two edges, I really like them. I think they can definitely mask some of the deficiencies from their off-ball linebackers or the secondary from the safeties and the corners. Offensively, I also really like their offensive line. I think they've really improved in their offensive line over the years, and also their receivers. They're always going to have really good receivers. They have depth at the tight end position as well, so that's really good. So overall, this team, I really like this team in the NFC West. I think with everybody else in the NFC West, I think they're going to fare well for the most part.
Yeah, I think they're in a prime position to win the division and win a couple playoff games, in my opinion. But yeah.
All right. Do you like the draft picks at all? I mean, they didn't have a first round pick, but they drafted obviously Terrence Ferguson. They drafted Josiah Stewart from Michigan. I don't know if you're very familiar with Josiah Stewart, linebacker from Michigan in round 3. And yeah, I mean, they drafted a running back at round 4, Jarquez Hunter, round 5. They drafted Ty Hamilton, defensive tackle from Ohio State. And they drafted another linebacker in round 5 and a wide receiver in round 7. So they didn't draft it wasn't a whole lot of splashes, but it's just guys that they can add depth to their defense and to their offense as well, especially the running back and wide receiver position. Were you impressed by the draft picks, or were you just like, it's whatever?
I honestly, outside of a couple guys, I've never really heard much about these dudes because they ain't have a first round pick, so I guess I wasn't too worried about who they were going to draft. I think I heard a little bit about Ty Hamilton. He could be solid depth in the defensive tackle position, but I can't really say too much about their draft class because I don't really know a lot of these guys.
I don't blame you. I mean, they were drafting a lot late in the round, late in the 5th, 7th, 3rd, 4th. Do you think this team can compete for a Super Bowl?
I say yes if Stafford can stay upright. If Stafford can stay upright throughout the season, I believe, and they also get some contribution from guys like Blake Corum stepping up, and guys like I think they can because they was really competitive with the Eagles and they went and won the Super Bowl. So I don't see why they can't. I feel like they got everything they need to compete. The only downside would probably be the secondary, which is the weak spot of the defense. But other than that, they have the firepower to compete. Offensively, getting rid of Cooper Kupp and bringing in Devontae Adams, who Devontae Adams is still a good player, much better than Cooper Kupp in my opinion. And also Puka Nacua needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay upright for the full season as well. But if they're healthy, I like them against pretty much anybody in the NFC, honestly.
Okay. Well, you heard it first. I agree with you on that one. You heard it first. Let's move on. Let's move on to the 49ers.
See, here's my thing with the 49ers. I know it's easy to look at the roster, but they're going to be trash this year. But like, it's something about them about Shanahan. He just finds a way to compete. I cannot fully count out the 49ers from doing anything good this year. I know Brandon Ayuk towards ACL last year, so we're probably not going to have him for a large stretch. And they're like, from a talent, like on paper, they just gave Brock Purdy all that money. People aren't happy with that. I probably wouldn't have done it, but I don't run an NFL team, so it is what it is. I still think there's something. You still got Fred Warner. You still got Nick Bosa. They drafted Mykal Williams, who even though I'm a Georgia fan, I wasn't high on Mykal Williams coming out of college, but whatever. They got Alfred Collins, who's a solid D tackle. I am familiar with that. But man, it's hard for me to say this team is going to be absolute garbage. But it's very much in a possibility that they'll probably pick in the range they picked last year, which is about 11, 10-11 range.
So you think this team can make the playoffs, or will make the playoffs rather?
I don't think they'll make the playoffs because I do think the talent in the NFC has just increased overall. Like there's a lot more players in the mix as compared to previous years. But I do think they'll be one of those teams that you look at them on the schedule, you'll be like, this is going to be an annoying game. But I don't think they'll win 10 games or nothing like that.
Interesting. What do you think Brock Purdy is going to look like this season? Do you think he's going to struggle? Do you think he's going to be about the same as we expect from Brock Purdy over the years? What do you think?
I think Brock Purdy will just be pedestrian. I don't think he's going to just immediately regress to being absolute garbage, but I don't think he's going to put up any numbers that's going to jump out off the page at you. I think he's going to be regular pedestrian, probably going to play safer football. They can't really stretch the field with the weapons they have. Honestly, it's not a lot of speed on the team. And their number one receivers out, so they're probably going to keep it very simple for him. And they're probably going to rely on Christian McCaffrey in the run game and Isaac Guerrero. So I don't really see Brock Purdy lighting up any stat sheet. He'll probably have a very pedestrian year.
What about, let me see. Do you like you said you didn't like Mykal Williams. Do you like
as a pass rusher?
Yeah, right. Do you like any of their other draft picks that they drafted?
Yeah, I like Alfred Collins and I don't really know these guys. I'm not sure on Jordan Watkins as a receiver. He probably was a late round pick, so Yeah, the only people I know was that I know from the draft class really is Alfred Collins and Michael Williams.
Okay.
I don't know who C.J. West is or Nick Martin. Actually, I think I heard of that name, Nick Martin. I just don't. I haven't watched any film on him.
They drafted Jordan James out of Oregon. We already know with Shanahan, he gonna make wonders out of whoever they draft at running back. So
one thing I will say about Michael Williams is that I think for what he is right now, I'm not a huge fan, but what he can be if he just develops more, he could be really good because he has the size, the length, the strength. He already a good run defender. So if he could just figure out that pass, get some more pass rush moves, he can be actually pretty good, I will say.
He has the talent.
Yeah, he has the talent.
He has the talent. He has the measurables. Everything you need in terms of talent-wise for a pass rusher, he has it. He's like 6'4", 6'5". The dude is huge. He's a freak of nature. Let's just get that out the way. And I keep hearing all the time from these NFL evaluators, he's playing on one leg. So maybe that has something to do with why he wasn't nearly as effective as a pass rusher. But overall, I think he went to the perfect situation.
I do think the return of Robert Saleh is going to have that defense playing at a higher unit level than they did last year.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering they had whoever, I forgot who it was.
I forgot too.
Yeah, I forgot who it was, but he wasn't all that great compared to the recent past years. So I just think talent-wise, the 49ers aren't what they once were. It seems like one of those years where they're it's like a transition year, in my opinion.
Yeah, like a retool year.
They're trying to figure out exactly where they are, who's gonna be the guys that we can rely on for years to come, as compared to last where they had a Brandon Ayuk where they knew for certain he was going to show up, or Deebo Samuel. Christian McCaffrey's getting up there in age. He's dealing with injuries, so you can't really necessarily rely too heavily on Christian McCaffrey at this stage of his career. George Kittle, he was still really good for them last year, but we don't know. Who knows? He might not be the same George Kittle as we have seen in recent years, since he's getting up there in age as well. I do think the offensive line is pretty good. It's pretty decent. They've done a good job of retooling that offensive line, despite the fact that they lost one of their guards. He went to Green Bay. So besides that, I think, again, like you mentioned before, as long as Brock Purdy is playing well, I do think this team can compete. But is Brock Purdy that dude, though? Is he that dude, though? I
don't think he's that dude to win a bunch of games when you don't have a bona fide number one receiver.
I don't know, man. I just don't know. I don't know. I think the Rams are a better team than the 49ers. At this stage of their career, I think the Rams are better than them. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Do they make their schedule looks pretty easy, though. They have a pretty easy schedule.
Yeah, that definitely could help them out a little bit.
That definitely could help them out. 49ers, they have a pretty easy schedule. They could make the playoffs just off of the strength of the schedule alone. Because I'm looking at it. Let me share it right now. Schedule. Here we go. So they have Seattle, they have New Orleans, they have Arizona, they have Jacksonville, they have Rams, Buccaneers, Falcons.
I don't know. That don't look that easy to me.
I mean, Seattle, they can beat Seattle. They can beat New Orleans. They can beat the Cardinals. They can beat Jacksonville. Rams is going to be tough. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is going to be tough. Atlanta, they can beat Atlanta. Houston, that's a toss-up. They can beat the Giants. Rams, that's a toss-up. Cardinals, that's a toss-up later in the year. Carolina, they could beat Carolina. They could beat Cleveland. Tennessee, they could beat Tennessee. Indianapolis Colts.
Week 14, bye. Ooh.
Anthony Richardson is the quarterback. They can beat the Colts. They can beat the Chicago Bears. They can beat Seattle. This doesn't look like a tough schedule to me. I don't know.
I see a lot of dog fights in their future.
Outside of Rams, Tampa Bay, I mean, it's not really whole much unless Chicago and the Colts come out of nowhere and surprise some people. This is a pretty cupcake schedule. Looks like a Cowboy schedule.
Not this year. See who we got to play, man.
Hey, whenever y'all make the playoffs, I'll just say this: whenever you guys make the playoffs, you guys normally have like a cupcake schedule. That's what it looks like. But I don't know, man. I think this schedule. I think they make the playoffs. I think they make the playoffs. Just that schedule alone. Yeah, that schedule is just too easy. I don't see them not making the playoffs. Let me see.
It's 7 teams per division. So let me try. I'm not gonna say mine out loud because we're gonna do that later. Let me try to think.
So you have the North division. You have the North to consider. You have the 2 teams in the NFC East to consider.
3 teams.
You have 2 teams in the NFC East to consider. Then in the South, you have 1 team, which is a division winner. Obviously, the West, you have the West with the Rams. I think the Rams are going to win that division. And then you have 49ers.
They could squeak in, I guess.
Yeah, since it's only 4. I mean, again, it's 4 divisions per conference. So 4 teams, each division. NFC North might have 3 teams. So you got to X out 3 slots right there. And then you have the division winners. Yeah. I think given their schedule, I can see them squeaking by. I can see them squeaking in there.
Yeah, honestly.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's not take too much time. I want to go to the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like the Arizona Cardinals are the most.
Oh my God.
They're polarizing.
I question a lot of Arizona Cardinals from a fantasy perspective and from a reality perspective. I actually watched a couple of videos. I did a little bit of research on the Arizona Cardinals, specifically their offense, because last year it was surprising to me just some of the offensive decisions, some of the scheming that they did for their offense. I was a bit perplexed. Anywho, what is your thoughts on the Arizona Cardinals this season? Do you think the Arizona Cardinals will make a leap this year, or are they just going to remain the same team?
See, the funny thing with the Cardinals is I don't hate the roster. I feel like they got dudes at positions where you can make some shake. Like they got Trey McBride, who's one of the top tight ends in the NFL. You got Marvin Harrison Jr., who I know he had probably a disappointing rookie season for most people's standards compared to like a Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr. But I feel like he can still, player development. He can still develop into something. Maybe they'll give him more looks. They did get a new, they still got Drew Petzing. See, that's gonna be the downfall right there. If Drew Petzing is still on that nonsense that he was on last year, this offense is not going to reach the level and potential that I think they should. And it's very unfortunate because the roster isn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's not terrible. There's definitely worse rosters in the league. And it's a shame that they just can't make it work. I don't think Jonathan Gannon is a bad coach. He's just what he's had to work with. He had to do what he had to do. But they did get some good acquisitions in free agency. They got Josh Sweat from the Eagles. He's a good, solid rotational pass rusher. I think he was starting for the Eagles actually. So they got Dalvin Tomlinson from Cleveland. Not bad as a tackle. They got Calais Campbell. Yeah, he's up there in age, but he's still a solid guy to have on your defensive line. Mm-hmm. And I even like their draft pick, Walter Nolan. He was one of the top 2 D tackle in the draft in my eyes. So I like what they did in the offseason. And they also drafted Will Johnson as well, which he has injury concerns, but if he can get back to that level he was in like 2023 Michigan, that'll be a steal for where they got him at. So I like it. They also, I don't know who the offense, they ain't really they only had 1 draft pick on offense, which is funny. But I like the team. I don't know. I think they could really, I honestly got them ranked higher than I would the 49ers.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. I just feel like it's just Drew Petzing, man. I can't trust him. Like he needs to stop using Marvin Harrison like he's a decoy and start making him the focal point of the offense. The run game will still be good. You still got James Conner. Clay Adams did leave to my team, of course, which he was like the O-line guru for them.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that foundation is laid. It's the same unit, so they should have that continuity and that. I could definitely see this team like sneaking in the playoffs.
My problem here's my thing, because Kyler Murray. That's another thing you didn't mention.
Yeah,
Kyler Murray, because Kyler Murray,
he can be up and down. Yeah,
I was listening. I was going through different articles. I went on Reddit as well. They had a whole thing, and it's about the offense in general and what they prioritize. They prioritize number one, the running game. Number two is going to be the tight ends, and then number three is going to be the wide receivers. Which, to just some of the things I've heard, the offense isn't as bad as what people want to claim it to be. And it's because of, fantasy football. In fantasy football, you want the wide receivers to eat and all this stuff. How they have Kyler Murray functioning in this offense is that they're not going to have him throwing the ball a whole lot. He's going to throw the ball maybe 20, 25 times. They're going to try to utilize his legs. They want to establish the run with James Conner. My whole point is, why would you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. if that's going to be your offense? If you want to establish the run early, if you're going to rely heavily on the tight ends and you're only going to require Kyler Murray to throw the ball 20, 25 times, what's the point of having Marvin Harrison Jr.? Is it just because you want him to be, because he's tall and he can be a good blocker for you? I wouldn't have drafted a wide receiver top 4 if his biggest value is going to be his blocking. You could just draft somebody in the later rounds for that.
You could draft a tight end and get him to block.
That's my whole gripe with this team is, if you're going to draft Marvin Harrison Jr. top 4, why the hell wouldn't you want to use him to the best of his ability? I also heard.
I'm just saying they just gotta, like, to me, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of those players you got to get him going early, or he'll just not do much for the rest of the game. So the fact that they want to run the ball, then go through tight ends, play through Trey McBride, then your wide receiver is the third option. It's kind of like, that. Like I said, that defeats the purpose of drafting Marvin Harrison Jr.
And then Greg Dortch, you have to worry about Dortch as well, because he's also getting touches, and Wilson.
Yeah, Greg Dortch was vulturing. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, why is he getting so many looks?
So you have to worry about that as well. I just think with Marvin Harrison Jr., this is just not the right offense for him, for his capability. It reminds me a little bit of A.J. Brown when he was on the Tennessee Titans, and how the Tennessee Titans were utilizing him. He was still an amazing player, but he couldn't reach his potential in that offense because they relied so heavily on Derrick Henry. And this feels like the same situation where you're looking at an offense that's not predicated on the passing game, and it's more reliant on the running game. Kyler Murray's running ability and James Conner's running ability. And it's not like James Conner is Saquon Barkley or anything like that. James Conner is a good back, but I wouldn't run my offense significantly through James Conner. Like, James Conner, I'm just not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of it at all.
How do you feel about the defense?
The defense, again, I like Walter Nolan a lot. I like Josh Sweat. I like that they brought in Josh Sweat. Buda Baker is still a pretty good safety at this stage of his career.
Garrett Williams is solid. He's actually
Jalen Thompson is okay. He's okay. And then you have Will Johnson. If he can remain healthy and he can continue to develop, that would be a steal of the draft. Zayvon Collins is also another guy off the edge that's really good for them as well. It's not a bad defense. I feel like Jonathan Gannon, he can do some things with this defense. Depth-wise, I don't know if they have enough depth, but just looking at the starting lineup for them, their base defense, it's not too shabby. They can do some things for that one. And they also drafted some people in the draft. They went heavy defense in the draft. They drafted, obviously, Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, round 3. They drafted another Oregon guy, a defensive tackle, Jordan Birch. They went almost defense in the draft. Besides a guard,
that defense was terrible last year, so I don't blame them.
Yeah. So they put a lot of draft capital on that defense. So I expect the defense to be a lot better this year. They're going to add a lot of depth. I just wonder, is Kyler Murray that guy? Can Kyler Murray get back to his sophomore season, get back to that first year? I think it was that first year with what's his name from the Commanders? I forgot his name. But yeah, get back to his sophomore year. Can he get back to that version of Kyler Murray where he was looking like
Cliff
Kingsbury, where he was looking like he was about to ascend to possibly a top 7 quarterback? Can he get back to that version of Kyler Murray, or is he just a mediocre quarterback? Is he just like around that Tua Brock Purdy range?
Who
knows? But I don't know if they can make the playoffs. I don't know if they can make the playoffs. With Kyler Murray, I don't know if they can make the playoffs, man. I think
the offensive philosophy has to change.
I gotta see it. I just gotta see it. For me, they have the talent, but I have to see it. I don't know if the coaching wise, I don't know if the coaching is going to be good enough to where they can get these guys. They can get a scheme that will help them win enough games to push them to the playoffs. I got to see it. I got to see if Kyler Murray is able to improve and become a top 10 caliber quarterback. I have to see it, because if he can't, then I don't see this team making it to the playoffs. He has to have a good year. He can't just be mediocre. What I've heard from Trey McBride, I think there was a video that I saw. I think it was Trey McBride, and he was talking about the playbook from year 1 to year 2 and how they're adding more stuff like motion in some of the plays. It's not as simple as it was last year. Like it's actually more detailed than it was last year. So that's good, but I just don't know if they're going to prioritize Marvin Harrison Jr. more. I don't know. That's the biggest question of it all. All right, let's go to the last NFC West team, and it's the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
What a mismanagement for the Seahawks these past couple years, because you got rid of Geno Smith, who was a solid starting QB for you, for Sam Darnold, who only really has one good year of work under his belt. With the guy who's a great offensive play caller with Kevin O'Connell. I'm not sure what they're doing. Then you went and hired Clint Kubiak, and he had that Saints offense looking crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm Mike McDonald. I mean, I think Mike McDonald is a good coach, but I feel like the front office isn't really giving them much to work with.
Yeah,
because you got your marquee signing this offseason was Cooper Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess Sam Darnold, but Cooper Kupp, then you got Valdez-Scantling starting. He's your wide receiver 3.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Okay, so let me get this straight. You got Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's primarily a slot receiver. Then you sign Cooper Kupp, who's primarily a slot receiver. I know JSN, he could probably play all throughout the wide receiver, but most of his work came from the slot. So we only got that to go off of. What is this team building? Yes, I like Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet, running game, good 1-2 punch. But how are we going to move? I don't trust Sam Darnold with these weapons.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp injury prone and old.
Very old.
Jackson Smith-Njigba really is the only real threat on that field. Noah Fant is your number 1 tight end.
Yeah, I don't like that either. Mm-mm. Nope. Not gonna be able to do it.
what are we doing here? And like your offensive line isn't even terrible. Like there's a couple guys on here, but like with this team, you're not expected. How you gonna expect to compete? Like your defense is solid. You got Leonard Williams. You got a good front four. Byron Murphy is like that. I like Leonard Williams. D-Law's a good addition.
D-Law.
Even though, he said what he said about my team, but whatever. Ernest Jones is a good linebacker.
Okay.
I mean, but you even got Boye Mafe. I forgot y'all had him. And he had some good flashes last year. Your secondary isn't terrible. You got Reek Woolen. He kind of like fell off compared to what people thought he was going to be, but he's still a good corner. Witherspoon is good.
Mm-hmm.
But like that offense is like, no.
Yeah, that defense is going to have to carry. The defense is going to have to do some magic. You got Leonard Williams. Obviously, you brought in DeMarcus Lawrence. Didn't have the greatest year last year, but you never know with the new system. He might show up again. Didn't they draft the guy last year? What's his name?
Byron Murphy?
No. Remember? Oh yeah. Byron Murphy from Texas, right?
Yeah.
Why is he not? I'm looking at the depth. Oh, never mind. This is nickel. Hold on.
Yeah, you got to put it on base.
Yeah.
I forgot they drafted safety Nick Imanwori.
Yeah, Jaron Reed.
I like his game.
Jaron Reed. I mean, their front four isn't too bad.
They got Jonathan Hankins still too. I forgot.
Yeah. This defense is gonna have to really be good for this team because offensively, I don't see it. I don't see it at all.
They got one dude in Kenneth Walker. Like Kenneth Walker and JSN, that's the offense. That's what it's looking like.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold, again, like you mentioned, Kevin O'Connell, he's an amazing play caller, amazing coach, amazing offensive mind. How much was that Kevin O'Connell being brilliant and not Sam Darnold being a talented QB? Because we saw with Sam Darnold before going to Minnesota, and he was a backup QB. So it doesn't look good. Seahawks fans. It's not the prettiest looking team. I will say that. Their draft picks, they reached for Gray Zabel out of North Dakota State. He's the guard. I think he's going to be starting for them this year. People questioned that pick. They thought he was maybe a late first, early second round pick, maybe.
But this draft, it was like after a certain point, it was just like all of these dudes ain't first round talent. So
they drafted that safety out of South Carolina, Nick Imanwori.
Yeah.
And then they drafted the tight end out of Miami. They drafted a tight end in round 2.
Elijah Arroyo.
Yeah. Wow. He's not the tight end that's like super old, is he?
Let me see.
Didn't they have a tight end like that was like that was like 26 or 27 or something?
He is 22, so no, that's not.
Yeah, he definitely can't be him if he's getting drafted in the second round. They drafted Jalen Milroe. Okay. They drafted a DN out of Notre Dame. They drafted Torrey Holton out of Colorado State. Okay. They drafted a fullback in round 5. A fullback in round 5? Okay.
I guess.
They drafted a guard in round 6. Okay. They drafted Damian Martinez. I like Damian Martinez from Miami. He was pretty good. He was pretty good. He's a power back. Not gonna outrun you.
Oh yeah, Damian Martinez. Yeah.
But he's a bruiser. He's not gonna outrun you or anything. But he has some. He's pretty tall, 6 feet, 217. So between the tackles, he's gonna be able to get some yards after contact. They drafted an offensive tackle again. The draft isn't really. It's whatever. But yeah, I think Seattle's going to be the worst team in the division by far.
Yes, that's where I'm leaning to.
unless that defense is so dominant, I don't see how Seattle plays well this year. All right. So without further ado, let's get to the rankings. So how do you rank these teams from 1 to 4 in the division?
I'm gonna rank them Rams 1. I just feel like they just have the better talent top to bottom. They made the playoffs, won a game. So yeah, I'm going Rams 1. I'm going Cardinals 2nd. I feel like they just got to get that offense, man. They got to get that offensive philosophy down to where we're maximizing the talents of Marvin Harrison Jr. And then we can start worrying about running the ball with James Conner and trying to play through Trey McBride as well. I feel like you draft Marvin Harrison top 4, use him. He needs to be the focal point of your offense. And we need to maximize Kyler Murray's abilities. Yes, you can still use his legs and his mobility and everything, but him that combined with the James Conner run game should not be your focal point of your offense, in my opinion. Not in this day and age of football. But I still think if they get that right, I think they'll finish 2nd in the division. 3rd, I'm going 49ers. Because you said the schedule honestly isn't the toughest in the world, and the team isn't bad enough to where they just lose these kind of games against the teams that's on there. And even last year they weren't good, but they were competitive. Like they still competed at a solid level. Like that game against the Lions, where I lost my championship game because Brock Purdy and Kittle combined for like 40+ points, but they were still competitive. And their roster isn't bad. They got them. They made some good picks. Mikael Williams, if he develops into a pass rusher who, with his physical build, says he can be, that's going to be a home run for them. But the Seattle Seahawks are going to be the last in my rankings because the offense just doesn't move me outside of Jackson Smith-Njigba and Kenneth Walker. I'm not huge on Sam Darnold. We've seen what he was towards the end of the season, where he would play teams that would actually send him pressure. And he would get flustered and start making bad decisions and bad reads. And that playoff performance was dastardly. So yeah, I'm not high on Sam Darnold, honestly. So just to recap: Rams, Cardinals, 49ers, Seahawks.
Okay. Mine is a little bit different. Obviously, you have the Rams at 1. I just think they're the most talented team. They have a great coach in Sean McVay. They have the best quarterback in the division by far. I like their offensive line. I like their defensive line. I like the running game. I like their weapons on outside. When you have Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Tutu Atwell. They also have a nice little tight end group with Tyler Higbee and Terrence Ferguson. Then I have the 49ers. I just think the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan is an amazing coach. That scheme is amazing. I think Brock Purdy, although Brock Purdy doesn't have nearly the same amount of weapons as he once did, I do think that with Kyle Shanahan as the head coach and the fact that Brandon Ayuk will eventually come back, I think he'll come back. I think it is. I don't think he's going to be out for the season. I
think he tore his ACL like week 5 or something. So
yeah, I think he'll be back in the season, so I'm not too concerned about that. If not, he still has some other guys that he can go to with George Kittle, with Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. So he has some guys that he can go to. And offensive line isn't too bad where it'll be a detriment to what he wants to do as a passer. And then Christian McCaffrey is still a pretty good back if he's healthy, obviously, and it's Kyle Shanahan. He always has a backup plan when it comes to running backs, so I'm not worried about the running game at all. Defensively, it's still going to be a work in progress because they lost some players over the year. They're retooling that defense, but they still have a pretty decent front four with Nick Bosa, and then you drafted Mikael Williams. I think Mikael Williams, when he's healthy, which he will be throughout this season, I believe he'll make some sort of contribution, either as a really good run defender or maybe even get some sacks. Who knows? He might be up there at pass rush win rate. You never know. He might be number 1 in pass rush win rate as a rookie in terms of rookie pass rushers. You never know it. That's how talented he is. And in that system, you can't count them out, especially when Robert Saleh is the defensive. Yep. He's the defensive coach. So, yeah, man, I have 49ers at 2. I have Cardinals at 3. I'm just not sold on this offense for the Arizona Cardinals. I'm not sold for Kyler Murray yet. They have potential. They have the ability of potentially being one of the top offenses in the NFL. I just have to see it first for me to believe it. I've heard some good things. I've heard that they're adding more to the playbook. They're adding motion to the playbook. They're trying to make it more detailed, make it more methodical, but it's a lot of talking. It's not a lot of evidence. I need to see the evidence if I'm going to put the Cardinals as the second best team in the division. So then lastly, Seattle, obviously it's just their overall roster is lacking important pieces that they need in order to win, like the quarterback position. I'm not too crazy over the offensive line. I think defensively is pretty good, is pretty decent, but that offense, man, I just don't trust that offense at all. With Sam Darnold as the quarterback and Jackson Smith-Njigba really the only reliable receiver because of his age, because he's always healthy, and Cooper Kupp is getting up there in age. So that's just how I look at it. I have, again, to repeat, Rams at 1, 49ers at 2, Cardinals at 3, Seahawks at 4. And that is my rankings. And that'll do it for this episode of the Courtside Podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials. And we see you guys in the next episode of Courtside Podcast. Thank you guys for watching, and peace.
Salute.